Cuts of beef are first divided into primal cuts, pieces of meat initially separated from the carcass during butchering. These are basic sections from which steaks and other subdivisions are cut. The term primal cut is quite different from prime cut, used to characterize cuts considered to be of higher quality. Since the animal's legs and neck muscles do the most work, they are the toughest. The meat becomes more tender as distance from hoof and horn increases. Different countries and cuisines have different cuts and names, and sometimes use the same name for a different cut. For example, the cut described as brisket in the US is from a significantly different part of the carcass than British brisket. The American cultural anthropologist Margaret Mead wrote in the American Anthropological Journal of the American Anthropological Association, "Cultures that divide and cut beef specifically to consume are the Koreans and the Bodi tribe in East Africa. The French and English make 35 differentiations to the beef cuts, 51 cuts for the Bodi tribe, while the Koreans differentiate beef cuts into a staggering 120 different parts." American cuts. The following is a list of the American primal cuts, and cuts derived from them. Beef carcasses are split along the axis of symmetry into halves, then across into front and back quarters. Canada uses identical cut names as the US, four-quarter cuts. The chuck is the source of bone-in chuck steaks and roasts, and boneless clot steaks and roasts, most commonly. The trimmings and some whole boneless chucks are ground for hamburgers. The rib contains part of the short ribs, the prime rib and ribeye steaks. Brisket, primarily used for barbecue, corned beef or pastrami. The foreshank or shank is used primarily for stews and soups. It is not usually served any other way because it is the toughest of the cuts. The plate is the other source of short ribs, used for pot roasting, and the outside skirt steak, which is used for fajitas. The navel section is also commonly used to make pastrami. The remainder is usually ground, as it is typically a cheap, tough, and fatty meat. Hindquarter cuts. The loin has two subprimals, or three if boneless, the short loin, from which the T-bone and porterhouse steaks are cut if bone-in, or strip steak. The sirloin, which is less tender than short loin, but more flavorful, can be further divided into top sirloin and bottom sirloin, and, the tenderloin, which is the most tender, can be removed as a separate subprimal, and cut into filet mignons, tournedos or tenderloin steaks, and roasts. They can also be cut bone-in to make parts of the T-bone and porterhouse loin steaks. The round contains lean, moderately tough, lower-fat cuts, which require moist or rare cooking. Some representative cuts are round steak, eye round, top round, and bottom round steaks and roasts. The flank is used mostly for grinding, except for the long and flat flank steak, best known for use in London broil, and the inside skirt steak, also used for fajitas. Flank steaks were once one of the most affordable steaks, because they're substantially tougher than the more desirable loin and rib steaks. Many modern recipes for flank steak use marinades or moist cooking methods, such as braising, to improve the tenderness and flavor. This, combined with a new interest in these cuts' natural leanness, has increased the price of the flank steak. Argentine cuts. The most important cuts of beef in the Argentine cuisine are, asado, the large section of the rib cage including short ribs and spare ribs, asado de tira, often translated as short ribs, but also sold as long, thin strips of ribs. Chuck ribs, flank and style. Bife de costilla, T-bone or porterhouse steaks, bife de chorizo, strip steak, called NY strip in US, bife de ojo, ribeye steak, bola de lomo, tenderloin, chinchulin, upper portion of small intestines, colita de codril, tri-tip, or the tail of the rump roast, codril, rump, intra plus or minus a, skirt steak, falda, navel, lomo, tenderloin, matambre, a long thin cut that lies just under the skin and runs from the lower part of the ribs to belly euro, or flank area, mollagas, sweetbreads, pecco, brisket, rear plus or minus 1 euro kidneys, tapa de asado euro. Rib cap, tapa de nalga euro top of round roast, vaca euro flank, though it may contain the muscles of other near cuts. Brazilian cuts. The most important cuts of beef in the Brazilian cuisine are, Acre copyright M, neck, alcatra, top-bottom sirloin, contrafila copyright tenderloin, cox a pound odoro, round, cox a pound o mole, round, fila copyright mignon, part of the tenderloin, legato, round, mumina, bottom sirloin flank, patinu, confluence of flank, bottom sirloin and rear shank, picana, rump cover or rump cap, cupum, hump, fraldina, confluence of short loin, flank and bottom sirloin, perlita, chuck brisket, Turkish cuts, gurdon, neck. Entrecote, rib steak, confile, steak, bonfile, fillet steak, sockum, rump, neror, round of beef, continua, the lower left side of neror, trina section the upper left side of neror, car 1/4 rec, shoulder, cull, inkick, mutton leg, dark paragraph Y, brisket, penna sectionata, flank, umerta, the section between continua and penna sectionata. UK cuts. Tongue, necks and clod, chuck and blades, sirloin, rump, silverside, topside, thick rib, thin rib, brisket, shin and leg, flank, thick flank, feather blade, fillet. Dutch cuts. Neck, rib, sirloin, tenderloin a Euro considered to be the premium cut, highly prized. It is called os en haas in Dutch. It tends to be cut slightly smaller than its American counterpart. Top sirloin, round a Euro mainly used for kjlbfstuk considered to be the basic form of steak in Dutch and Belgian cuisine. Flank, chuck a Euro best cuts are used for stoelvlees, lesser bits are used in hache. Brisket, Shankel Tongue is considered the cheapest piece of beef. It is used in certain styles of sausages such as the frikandel, though not as the main ingredient. Tail, though not on the image shown, is used extensively in stews. UNECE Standard, Bovine Meat Carcasses and Cuts. The UNECE Standard offer for the first time internationally agreed specifications written in a consistent, detailed and accurate manner using anatomical names to identify cutting lines. See also. Meat on the bone, references.